Hello everyone and welcome to D Teaches. I knew you would be back. In this video, I'm going to teach you 5 advanced words in English that have to do with the topic of coronavirus, particularly words related to the prevention and transmission of COVID-19. Why this topic? Because living in this fast-paced, globalized world, I think it's so important to keep up with trends, global issues, and topical problems. If you still haven't watched my first video on coronavirus vocabulary, I suggest that you have a look at it. I'm going to leave the link down below. There we learned how to use and pronounce words like epidemic, pandemic, covidiot, virus, and pneumonia. So, are you ready? Let's start with the first expression that I'm sure you all have heard dozens of times during the past weeks: preventive measures. So let's take a look at these two words separately. To prevent something is to not let something happen. And a measure is something that you do to deal with a situation. So a preventive measure is an action set in place to prevent a negative outcome. In the coronavirus pandemic, preventive measures are all the efforts that are set in place by the authorities and the population to reduce the economic, social, and health damage that the crisis is causing. Example: the mandatory use of facial masks has been introduced as a new preventive measure against coronavirus. The second term is social distancing. It is a preventive measure, and according to health experts, it is the most important one when it comes to slowing down the transmission of COVID-19. Applying social distancing means keeping space of 2 meters or 6 feet, as they say in the United States, between yourself and others. Now you can take a look at how this expression is used in context. The third expression that I would like you to know is flatten the curve. I'm sure that you all know the word flat as in a place where you live, and you could also describe something as flat, an adjective, which is not bumpy, so something flat. And to flatten is obviously to make something flat. So if we say to flatten the curve of infections of COVID-19, what we mean by this is to slow down and reduce the number of new cases of coronavirus. Here we can see how the disease spreads if a curve isn't controlled, and here the curve is more or less flattened thanks to the implementation of preventive measures. The fourth expression is incubation period. The incubation period is a lapse of time since a person contracts an infection, meaning gets sick, until they show the first symptoms of the disease. As they say, coronavirus incubation period ranges between 1 and 14 days, although according to the World Health Organization, commonly it is about 5 days. The fifth and last term for today is really interesting but super technical: basic reproduction number, or R0 of an infectious disease. According to what I've read, this term can be defined as
the expected number of cases directly generated by one case in a population where all individuals are susceptible to an infection.
In simple English, the R0 tells you the average number of people who will catch a disease from one contagious person. So let's imagine that the R0 equals to 2. In that case, one contagious person transmits the viral disease to 2 people, and then they can pass it on to the other 2 people. And since coronavirus is a new virus, the exact R0 of the disease is not yet clear, but some experts estimate that it's 2 or 3. Okay, I guess that's it for today. I really hope that you enjoyed the video and you found it useful. Now you'll be able to recognize so many complicated terms when reading news about coronavirus. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for future videos. Have fun with English and like and subscribe.